enough to know enough to know. So I feel like I can't speak out knowledgeably on a lot of these issues because I don't study the issues. I study how to win basketball championships, and I don't really want to be involved. Now, you can say, yeah, baloney, you're just trying to protect, because the line was, and I don't know exactly if he said it this way, but Republicans buy sneakers too.
He said, he said it in jest. Yes. I mean, Horace Grant.
It was on a team bus one time, but I don't know how seriously he meant it.
I believe he said it in jest, but, you know, people take anything that he says, they take it as the gospel.
So, obviously, Tom Brady is, to me, equally driven to win championships as Michael always was. And Brady believed from the start that anything he would get involved in away from football, politics, religion, I have no idea what is politics or religion. He's never even spoken any word publicly about either side of that, You know how much my faith means to me, and I'd be very curious to know, well, what's Tom's faith? Does he have any faith? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. So the point was that he avoided questions about that, as he did yesterday from Nancy Armour, as carefully as he avoids pass rushers, because it doesn't get him anywhere in winning championships, because in the end...
You think if he were to answer that, it would hurt him? It would cost him a game?
No, it could cost him some... Like he doesn't want to risk alienating anybody in the locker room with something he might say publicly, because it only distracts from the business of winning football games.
It distracts from the business of him making money. Skip, the thing is that black athletes...
No, winning football games. I disagree. I mean, I get that, but his brands aren't nearly as big as Jordan's.
But Skip, my thing is that black athletes have always had to take a stance because we've always been disadvantaged. We weren't allowed to play football. We weren't allowed to play basketball. We were fighting uphill battles that Tom Brady and his people were never fighting. So it's easy for him not to take a stand one way or another, but we don't have that luxury.
Okay, I got it. But remember, I'm old enough to know a day in this business when a lot of the white media wouldn't even give voice to the black athletes. They tried to ignore this or shut it out. That day is way gone, because if you want to speak, as you do on the show on an almost daily basis, you have voice, you have platform. You have magnitude from that seat that you sit in, as does LeBron. I mean, he's the strongest voice in this area we've ever seen. And yet, for Tom Brady, again, my job is not to judge his politics or his religion unless they negatively impact his ability to lead a football team. Now, I'm going right back to the football context. I wrote this for FoxSports.com yesterday. It's a part of the piece that I wrote about Brady. I don't know anything about his religion or his politics. I just know he avoids talking about both of them. So I don't know. Remember, the Washington Post said right after the MAGA hat incident that Giselle had said, and again, they said that, I don't think they quoted her, but that she was telling people that she and Tom Brady did not support Donald Trump. That was in the Washington Post right after the MAG hat. So I don't know, because he won't touch it publicly. Okay, so here's my question. When I'm judging Tom Brady as a performer, as a leader, does anything he say that he has ever said or done publicly in the realm of politics or religion affect his ability negatively to lead a football team? Well, obviously not, because I think he's the greatest leader in the history of sports. I'm going to say it one more time, and I wrote this in this piece yesterday. I have talked to dozens of players who played with Tom Brady. We've even had James Harrison, our contributor here on Undisputed, who can be skeptical by nature, and he said he was on high alert when he finished his career at New England through that playoff run, losing to Philly in the Super Bowl. And he said, the Brady I saw behind closed doors was exactly the Brady you see on television. He is exactly what he appears to be. Well, I told you, I've not heard one negative word about Tom Brady. And I'm not saying it's not out there. I just haven't heard it. Maybe you, as a Hall of Famer with other Hall of Famers, maybe you hear negative words. I haven't heard one thing about him. I don't hear, oh, he's a closet cracker. I don't hear he's a closet racist or a white supremacist. I don't hear any of that. And trust me, people will tell me that they have a tendency to tell me because they know I have a tendency to speak it out.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you think the people in the Bears locker room, from Julius Peppers to Peanut Tillman to Briggs, knew what they know about Brian Urlacher and his staunch support and how he feels about certain issues? You think that he displayed that in the locker room?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It'll be very interesting.
But he wasn't considered the team leader of that team.
He was the leader of the defense.
Yeah,
I mean, who was the leader? Jay Cutler?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard not. It's usually the quarterback.
But normally on the Bears, it's the defense. It was Butkus. It was Singletary. It's normally the middle.
All right, fair enough.
Who was that? Bill George was the first middle linebacker.
And how many championships did Brian Urlacher win?
Skip. Just because you don't win a championship doesn't mean you're not a leader.
Okay.
We got to stop equating. If you don't win, you're not a leader. And if you're a good leader and you win, that makes you the greatest leader. That does.
But if the players for 20 years, not for 5 years, but for 20 years who have played with and for Tom Brady, if they smelled any hypocrisy, any double standard within him, trust me, it would start to unravel because they would take shots. They would feel...
Skip, I'm not saying the double standard. It's the double standard is with the perception of what is asked of Tom Brady as opposed to to us.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Is he just like all the rest of us white people in America? Yeah. I mean, it's the same everywhere.
And that's Skip, that's all I'm saying. I don't have like I said, his politics is his politics. There are certain things I disagree with President Obama on. There are certain things I disagree with a lot of people on. But what I'm willing to do is that if I disagree, I say I disagree with him on this. I still think he's great. I don't obfuscate. I don't just, but I just try to be a good person. I try to be good in my community. That ain't what I do.
I got it.
And all I'm saying is that we look at Tiger Woods. Look at how they did Tiger Woods. Drug him through the mud. The man had an affair. Like, Tiger Woods is the only man that...
he had a whole bunch of affairs, but go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, how many times Donald Trump been married and divorced? How many times he had?
Yeah.
And they still love him. The evangelicals love him.
Okay, but remember... don't put me in there.
All right. Well, 90% of them, you the 10.
Okay. And I'm not evangelical, but I do believe in God.
Yes.
Okay. With Tiger Woods, the problem was the perception, the hypocrisy of it, because he had presented himself as the model husband and father, and it was a shock to white America. I can only speak from my side of this. I know my mother was the biggest Tiger fan, and it shook her that I thought he was such a great father and husband. Well, he's a great father. I don't think that was ever in question. Not so much a great husband at that point. But if you watch the documentary, what was Earl, his father?
Right. So let me ask you,
the best husband.
Well, yeah, and my grandfather used to say all the time, boy, if you're not careful, you'll become the very thing you despise the most in a person.
Good
and the
point.
thing that he despised the most in his dad, he actually became.
That applied. I agree.
But Skip, the problem that I have with that is, so Tiger Woods was the only guy that portrayed himself as a model husband and dad that had an affair that was a great professional athlete.
No.
Now, which one of them got way across the coast? Like Tiger did.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's the same Tiger who said, I resent being called black. Well, guess what?
Skip, that was my point. You remember? He said Nike ran an ad about they played up his blackness. He said, I can't play because the color of my skin is African American.
They did.
And the minute he won the Masters, he went on Oprah and said he Caucasian. You see that, how quick that changed? All of a sudden, he didn't need us anymore. But guess what happened? He got jammed up. The very people that he turned his back on ran to his rescue and lifted him up again. Same thing happened with Michael Jackson. Same thing happened with OJ.
Okay.
We'll be here for you when you come back.
Okay, got it. Very good points, especially about OJ. Okay, so here's my 2 cents from a distance about what has happened to Tom Brady and that hat. I believe, this is just my gut feeling on this, about 75% of the sports fandom out there does not like Tom Brady, in part because they're just sick and tired of him winning, but in larger part because he's not fun to watch win because he's spectacularly unspectacular. There's no wow factor.
Right.
There's
no buzz, no pizzazz.
Oh my God.
Right.
I've never seen that before. Yeah, you've seen it before. It's textbook.
Yeah, what are you going to say? I wonder what Tom's going to say about this.
No, he doesn't say squat about squat because he works as hard as he can to avoid anything that would be seen as controversial because he believes, I believe, that it would somehow detract from winning championships. He's all about championships. He's obsessed with it. So the 75% or so who don't like him were obviously on the edge of their seat waiting for one thing that they could seize upon, and it's, aha! It's a Make America Great hat again. He's a Trumper. We got him. And I believe that some of that 75%, maybe 50% of the 75, will never let the hat go because it's all they got to hang on to. That's what's wrong with him. He's a Trump supporter, okay?
I think the same thing that drives people to dislike Brady is why they tuned in and bought record pay-per-view buys of Floyd Mayweather. you want to see him lose.
Okay.
But whatever the case may be, I'm going to watch. And I believe this will be a record-breaking Super Bowl, not because it's Brady's 10. I want to see him lose. I want to say I saw it.
Don't you want to see him lose to? I think so many people.
I don't want to see him lose. I'm saying I believe that's
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I believe that's a large portion.
Because so many people believe just via eye test that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback ever.
Right.
Not an achievement. I'm just talking about eye test. Just what do you see?
Right.
Well, Shannon Sharp says, "Oh, that guy."
Right.
He's it.
And I think the thing is that and you say it, I want to see it. I don't want to see Tom Brady lose. I want to see a great game, and I think it's going to be a great game. But it's just, for me, like I said, I don't hold the MAGA hat against Tom Brady. I know where Tom Brady stands. I'm good with it. I've made peace. I don't expect it. Skip, I remember this time when George Floyd was going around, and I said it would be nice if somebody would, one of these big-time guys would speak out. I'm at ease with it. Aaron Rodgers was the closest we got to saying something, and I'm good with that. I know where Brady is, and if he were to say something now, I just believe it's just manufactured. He's not sincere, so I'm good. You got your hat, you support who you support, you go to his golf courses, you do whatever you need to do, whatever you feel is going to help you be the best Tom Brady, I'm all for that.
Okay.